there are procedures, there are processes, there are ways that you do things. For some of us, it really doesn't matter if they want to take some of their positions. We are quite happy to give way to some of them. But the way they have been conducting themselves, they've been holding illegal gatherings. Let me start there. Mm-hmm. The Deputy Secretary General has no locus to call a NEC meeting. A NEC meeting is called by the party leader or the chairman or the Secretary General. That purported NEC meeting in some hotel in Nakuru, which was purportedly supposed to discuss some of us. Number one, lacked notice. You should give 7 days notice. You should notify NEC members. We are NEC members. Kyoni is a NEC member. I'm a NEC member. The Treasurer is a NEC member. According to the letter that was actually even referenced in the judgment, I'll come back to the judgment in a moment. Yes. There was a notice on the 2nd of that month, of February. Sent to who? There was a notice. If they sent me a notice, you either do it by registered mail or even a WhatsApp. Because you see, a WhatsApp has a time and a day, so you cannot miss it. And then, unfortunately, you cannot backdate it. But you can backdate minutes, you can backdate notices of meetings, but the actual notification to the recipient. And that is why, for example, for the Secretary General, you send it to the party offices. Even for me, when they call us for meetings, it is from the party Secretary General or the Secretariat. And they are properly organized. We do NEC meetings. We do even National Management Committee meetings called by the chairman. And we have an NMC group, which they send out through WhatsApp. Because WhatsApp, like email and whatever, is a valid form of service. Mm-hmm. Let them demonstrate. And I have had this conversation with the registrar of political parties. They cannot demonstrate that they actually gave notice for that meeting. Some of the people who went to that meeting were actually called on telephone and they were misled about the nature and the intention. It was actually supposed to be a PG meeting and they converted it into a NEC meeting. And that is why, number one, they were not even able to raise quorum. They raised the quorum post the fact. But having said that... Which is, should be 24 members? Having 21. 21 members per the Kenya Gazette. Right. So the quorum is 8. Mm-hmm. But having said that, what has happened now is with the ruling of the PPDT, they then wrote, the same Kutuni wrote to the registrar of political parties, giving them the resolutions and the changes they purportedly made at the NEC meeting. The court ruled, and it is there in the ruling. And actually have it, right? That the registrar now responded to Kutuni's letter mm-hmm. and copied us. The court ruled that the letter that the registrar wrote of the 13th of February mm-hmm. was null and void and of no consequential effect. That is the ruling. Yes, I can read it for you. Just read from the ruling it says, right? Just read it. That part. Right. So taking into consideration all this for the foregoing circumstances, right. A declaration be and is hereby issued that the respondent's letter, dated 13th of February, the respondent being the Office of the Registrar of Political Parties, right. 2023 is null and void, right. and of no consequential effect. Exactly. But that one was based on one aspect. No, what that means, these people have purported to have a meeting. They have then written to the registrar to effect those resolutions, all right? The court is saying that letter which you wrote, because then she reacted to that letter that you wrote is null and void and of no consequential effect. It actually means that all those resolutions that they sent to you mm-hmm. and you responded to have no effect. But then the judgment goes on to say, Bwana Murathe, that the prayer for an order by
yourself as one of the appellants,
right,
quashing and or setting aside the purported notice issued by the interested party, dated 2nd February, the agenda, resolution and letter dated 10th of February,
right,
is declined. Also goes on to say...
Yes, and I'll tell you why. Let's stop there first. The reason it was declined is because the court said they have no jurisdiction to hear that matter.
Because this is...
Until the party has exhausted the internal disciplinary mechanism. Going from the disciplinary committee and the IDRM, because we have a committee for internal dispute resolution. So they said, we cannot even address that. So that order you're asking us to do, we are declining it because we are having no jurisdiction.
But I feel like there's a bit of either there is no clarity on what this judgment says, or it's being read on different areas.
The operative thing, you see, when they take to the registrar of political parties, they actually wanted her to effect it and to gazette it, and to say, I accept these changes, and these are now the new officials. Actually, the registrar there in her affidavit, she says he has never purported to accept the changes.
Or ratify the changes.
Or ratify them.
Yes.
And she actually also referred them back to the internal dispute resolution. After that letter acknowledging them and saying she thinks it was procedural, which the court now said, we don't think you should have done that in the first place.
Yes,
so your letter is null and void.
The judgment said it was
unfair. So if the letter is null and void, it means what they wanted the registrar to do, she did not do.
But these were two different things. This was a judgment that addressed that letter by the Registrar of Political Parties.
Our case was against the registrar.
You have resolutions that were already put...
Yes, they have put resolutions.
Put forth by the National Executive Council, purportedly.
By the renegades. And she was told, you should not have done this. You should not have written this letter. This matter should have gone to the party's internal dispute resolution mechanism. The committees are there.
So what's the status quo?
The status quo is, if you ask her today, and I can call her if she'll pick, ask her who are the party officials as per the records with the registrar of political parties now. You will find it is the same people who are passed by the NDC the Gazette notice of March 2022. And I have it. And there has been no amendment, no change. Their letter to the registrar actually wanted her to amend that. Because whenever you do changes in political party officials, you send to the registrar. If she's satisfied, she actually does it. She was under a lot of pressure to gazette these people herself. And she said, look, my hands are tied in terms of the court ruling, in terms of the procedures which you guys are following. And even her own letter was actually referring the matter back to the internal dispute resolutions mechanism. So the status quo today obtains. And I challenge you to call the registrar of political parties. Because one is saying, I'm the Secretary General. The other one is saying, I'm the Secretary General.
And it appears to
she needs to come out. I'm actually challenging the registrar of political parties. And I'm challenging you, the media, to call her. You have right to public information.
Because it seems both sides, your side and
Mr.
side, appear to be reading from the same judgment but on very different levels.
They are just being mischievous. They're just trying to push a propaganda line. That judgment is clear.
Okay.
Our case was with the registrar of political parties. Are we in office or are we not in office? If we're in office, status quo obtains. If we're not in office, strike us out and put them. Call her now, call her tomorrow, in fact, call her here.
All right.
And ask her, as per your records, who are the officials of Jubilee Party?
Okay, and I think
it's a very simple thing.
All right, and we will be continuing this conversation in a moment.
Yes.
So we'll also take a look at, the former president